Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on the time you are watching this video. You are welcome to our first Excel video class series. This is going to be in continuation of our virtual training. And in this video, I'll be taking us through formatting data in Excel. I'm going to drop the link to the student study guide that comes along with this video in our group so we can access it in order to complement this video. I will try as much as possible to be explicit enough. I will bring our live virtual experience into this video. Trust me, you have nothing to lose or nothing to miss. Without further ado, let us jump straight into Excel to get things done. Thank you. Now, today we want to be talking about data formatting in Excel. How do you format data in Excel? What what do you need to format in Excel? What is data formatting? What is data cleaning? Okay, for a quick recap, let me put it this way. A lot of times, the data you are given to work on in Excel is not in a format usable for you and need some cleaning before you can go ahead with the analysis you intended doing on it. In most cases, you have to manually clean the data and fix whatever issues it has one by one before processing with the before progressing with the original analysis you intended to do on the data. So data cleaning is simply means putting your your data table in the best possible format and in a usable format to suit your your intended analysis. So looking at this video, we have this data table on our screen. You and I, we don't know what it is. It is named sheet 1. What is that about sheet 1? Let us assume that this data is being given to us by our sales department, that it needs to be what analyzed. And looking at it the way it is, we cannot tell. We cannot tell what it is. We don't know what this data table conveys as it is. So we need to transform this data we need to format it properly in such a way that if anyone comes in contact with this data, he or she understand what it is all about. That is data formatting. That is what data formatting. So in order to give us the proper definition of data formatting, it's just a quick way to turn a blind looking data into a what? into a nice looking one. And one of the best exact tip is to apply a table formatting to your data. So this is a blind table data. We don't know what it is. It is not what properly formatted. So you and I, we cannot go ahead and analyze with this data without transforming this data. And in order to transform this data, we need to remove unnecessary columns and empty row spaces that may be present within our data table. So first and foremost, what we need to do here is that we need to remove empty columns and empty rows in order to make this table fit for analysis. So in order to analyze your table properly, all you need to do is to what to work with a compact table. And what is a compact table? Compact table is any data table without empty spaces, either at the column side or at the within the rows of your table. So they are they are table void of of empty columns and empty rows. So let us try as much as possible to to remove all these empty spaces. And how do we remove all these empty spaces? You can highlight them, hold shift on your keyboard, shift control one, control your control tab, then click all the empty columns and right click and delete, and that's what removes our empty columns. So having done this, what else again do we need to do? Well, the best thing we can do here is let us assume that I want to highlight this whole table. Now, if I go ahead to highlight this whole table, this table, I will be on, it will be so difficult for me to highlight this table. Let me show you. Control A. Can you see now that it is not it is impossible for us to highlight this whole table. Why? The reason being the fact that we are having empty rows within our column. So within our data table, Excel at the back end, Excel is seeing this as as page break. Excel is seeing this as as page break. So in order to remove this, what's it called, empty rows, what you need to do is just highlight and hold shift on your system, then highlight the whole empty rows, and delete them. It is now becoming shape. Okay, we are still left with this, and you right click and delete. As it is now, we've gotten rid of our of all the empty spaces. So let me try and highlight this table. Let's see what will happen. Now, we've been able to do what? I can easily highlight what? This table. So whenever you are having empty rows, even if it is empty column, it will be impossible for you to what? To highlight the whole table in Excel. So if I control A now, can you say, okay, okay, it is whenever we are having empty rows that it will be impossible for us to highlight the whole table. Now, this is a perfect example of a what? Of a compact table. This is a perfect example of a compact table. Unlike when we have a scattered what? Unlike when we are having a scattered or non, unlike when we are having a scattered, I want to try as much as possible to go back to where we started from. Okay. So this is a perfect example of a what? A scattered, a compact table. Unlike when we are still having those empty rows and empty columns, they are called non-compacted table. So one of the rules or one of the rule of thumb in order to analyze your data in Excel is what? To work with a what? A compacted table. To work with a what? With a compacted table. That is rule number one. And then another thing for you to do is rule number two is what? Use descriptive names for your columns headers and row headers. Use descriptive names for your column what? For your column headers and row headers. As it is now, um, as it is, we are having a what? This is our row, this is our column, column A, column D, E to what now? To M. What does column, these columns put together, what are they representing? We don't know. It is blank. We can, what we can see here is what? Calendar day, calendar. This is telling us month, January 12, February 12, May 12, and so on and so forth. Now, we need to what? Use descriptive names for our column headers and our row headers. And in order to do this, what we need to do now is okay, here we are in our column here, in our column A, what we have sales. So meaning that this is a what? Is a sales table. And while in B to in B to M respectively, that is where we are having our what? Our monthly sales figure pertaining to our what? To our sales men. So this is perfect. Another thing we need to do is okay, let's try as much as possible to format this table. And how do we do that? Before doing that, what we can we do is, okay, let us properly label our table. Let us label our table. Uh, Let us label our rows and headers properly. And in order to do this, You can change to your font, change the change 16. Okay. All right. We formatted our columns. We formatted our columns. And another thing we can do is let us inspect, are they in chronological order? We see this is January 12th, February 12th, March 12th. Where is April? You can see April is missing. And then in order to do this, let's copy here, create, let us insert, copy. Now we've done that, and um, so let us delete, let us get rid of this. We no longer need that one. January, February, March, April, May, June. Where's our July? Can you see where our July is? Let us copy our July and put it there. Insert, copy cell. Okay, and let us get rid of this. Okay, let us go back. We now have January, February, March, April, May, January, February. Okay, no, it is not. So what do I do? Let us copy and insert special. While we get rid of, this. So we have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. No, oh, it is perfect now. It means that this our sales table report is being what released or generated every what every month, every after the on the 12th of what on the 12th of every month. That is when this table is being what reported. So what have we been able to do? We've given our what our table a befitting columns header. And another rule of thumb, thirdly, is what? Name your Excel sheet. Don't just go ahead with the what? With the default names. As it is now, the default name here is what? Sheet 1. So what does sheet 1 convey? We don't know what it convey. So name your Excel sheet. Don't just go ahead with the default names. Sheet 1, sheet 2, and so on and so forth. Rename the sheet to reflect the what? To reflect the content of the sheet. What is the content of the sheet as we speak? The content is what? This is a monthly sales report. So let us go ahead and rename this one to what? You right click and go to rename, and you change it to what? Monthly sales sales monthly sales, okay, report. So we've named it properly. As you can see now is what? We've renamed our Excel sheet to reflect our what? To reflect the content on the sheet. So another thing we can do is we can add tab color here. and says, I think says is always green. Says is always green. So you can give it color. You can even you can you know and bold. You can bold. Can you see now? So we've done that. So let us give our table a suitable title. Let us, what name can we give to this table? We can name this table what? Monthly sales table or report. So let us make sure it's centers across. What you do is you center across control one, come to alignment, then you would center across cell selection and font. You can work with, I would like working with Times New Roman, Times New Roman, Control A, change it to what? To Times New Roman, and let's make it okay. Let us center it and Control 1 and bring it to alignment, center across cell selection. Okay, good. So monthly sales table. It is now becoming what? More beautiful. Another thing we can do here is to let us format. Now, before there are various means to format this table as it is. There are various means of formatting this table. Number one is we can use the default format, the default table format that comes along with Excel. And in our home tab, home menu, come to this side, you will see what in our style menu, you see what? Format as table. Quickly convert a range of cells to a table with its own what? With its own style. So when you bring this down, you are presented with all manner of what? Of options that you can pick from. And once you do that, you can see all these dotted lines. You can see all these dotted lines now. If you go ahead and press OK, what will happen? Excel will automatically convert it to a what? To a table. As you can see now, we have it in a table, but I don't want that. What I can do is go back to home and Control Z. I don't want that. I want to format this table myself. So what I need to do is come here. Let's do some kind of formatting ourselves. Let's do a kind of formatting ourselves. Format this table ourselves now. We all format this table ourselves. And what you do is you come to this what our fill color, come to fill color, color the background of cells to make them stand out. So we left click, we are presented with various colors here. And because we are dealing with sales report, it is best and then control. Okay, good. Another thing. Let's font color. Let's change the font color to white. We can bold the font color. All right. So another thing we can do is let us our sub column, our column, sub column header. Let us give it. Let us format it as well to reflect what we're doing. All right. Blending. Okay. Good. Our table is becoming what? More fancy white as well. Okay, let us control Z. So let us leave it in black. Another thing we can do is now having done this, what else can you do? The another rule of thumb is to what? Also use descriptive names when renaming the Excel sheet in which we have done here monthly sales report. You can see that our what our descript our name, our sheet title is what match with our what with our sheet name. Another thing is avoid putting too many tables in one Excel sheet at a time. Avoid putting too many tables. And what do we mean by too many tables is, for instance, we have a monthly sales table now. Don't come down and imagine we're now having a what monthly monthly expenses table, monthly expenses table. When you press enter, you go it should be a what? It should be one table per sheet. Avoid putting too many tables in one sheet. Best to keep just related tables in the same sheet if you must put more than one table in the sheet. So let's say for instance, because we don't know the year we are dealing with here, let's just assume this is last year sales. Let us assume this is last year sales. So we can have in this table, let's say for instance 2022, then we can now put come here, we can now have monthly sales report for 2023, 2024. That is what you can keep related, you can keep related table, you can keep related tables in the same sheet if you must put more than one table in your what in your data table. Now, having done this, what else can we add to this again? Let us okay. Now, another thing is let us look at this. Let us check for duplicates. Let us check for what? For duplicates. We need to what? Check for duplicates within our table. So part of data cleaning is what? Removing duplicates and text to columns and text to columns. But how do we remove duplicates? In order to remove duplicates, Occasionally, you will have a table that you will want to remove duplicate entries. If it were a sales transaction table such as this, you might want to remove the duplicate sales entries. In this example now, here in this our table, we know we are dealing with monthly sales table. So the chances of having duplicate, the chances is high. The chances is so what? Is so high. We want to remove in this our column here, we want to remove um in our sales column, we want to remove duplicates. We want to remove duplicates from this our sales main columns, so that we can have a what? We can be left with what? Unique entries. And how do we go about that? The first thing you can do is what? Highlight your header by what? Either you right click or you left click. Highlight your column header. Let us do it here. Highlight your column, and you come to what? Your data. You come to your data menu. Yeah, you come to your data menu and click on remove. On data menu, you remove what? You remove duplicate. You come to this our you come to your data tools. You come to this data tools. Here we have what? Text to columns. Text to columns split a single column of text into what? Into multiple columns. For example, you can separate a column of full names into separate what? First and last name columns. You can choose how to split it up, fixed with or split at each comma, period, or other characters. Let's assume that we want to split this says column here, that we have George Washington, we have John Adams. Let's assume we want to split. The best we can do is come to when you click on this. Now we now have this wizard that comes up. The text wizard has what? Has determined that your data is delimited. And what do we mean by delimited? Is what? It's talking about the spaces, the comma within our what? Our row. If this is correct, choose next or choose the data type that best describes your data. Here we have what? That choose the file type that best describe your data. Delimited. Let us use delimited, and next we tab, comma, semicolon. We are not using semicolon. Let's see what we have. Let's use space. Can you see now? If we use tab only, tab means when you enter, this is tab. Let me cancel and let me show you what tab is. Let us come here, come to this place and see. We are using, that is tab. Can you see this empty space between this is what is called a tab, and that is when you press the tab button on your what, on your keyboard. That is what tab means. So let's go back to where we have our sales column, and let's try and do, when you press this, can you see now delimited, and when you press next, if you use tab, this is how it will come out. There will be what, spaces in between our what, our output. You can inspect here, you can inspect, and if we want semicolon, if you want semicolon, if you want comma, if you want space, if you want order, you can specify. But we are dealing with let's deal with, let's see how it goes with space, space, and blah 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 blah. Next, this is what we'll be having. We have cis and we have men. Okay, and let's see what will happen. Texts, general. Okay, let's leave it at general and finish. Okay, see, this is what we have now. It has splitted this column for us. Can we see now? We can call this the first name, the last name. Unlike when we have it together, that is what text to columns does. But we are not doing that for the sake of this video. So let us go back. What we want to do is we want to remove duplicate. In order to remove duplicate, still at this our data menu, just come to our data tools, and you see this that says remove duplicate. That's the second one within these three icons. When you press, you see remove duplicate. Delete duplicate rows from a sheet. You can you can pick which columns should be checked for duplicate information, like what you've done. I've selected it. I want to check my sales column here for duplicate. And what you do is when you press that, can you see it now say remove duplicate warning. Microsoft Excel found data next to your selection. Because you have not selected this data, it will not be removed. It's now telling us, okay, expand the selection, continue with the current selection. I only want to remove duplicates here. So that's why I will use continue with selection, then remove duplicate. Can you see now? We have a what? To delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. So it has automatically, we can select the columns here. We can select all if you want. If you want all, you can unselect all depending. So, but it's only this column which is our sales main column. Are you getting it? That I want to remove the duplicates. So what you do is now you come here to OK, and you see now on pressing OK, we have what? A dialog box that says 10 duplicate values found and removed. 65, we are now left with what? 46 unique values remain. Note that note note that count may include empty cells, spaces. It is, we remove all the empty cells and spaces. So when you press OK, then it has been what? Implemented to how many columns? Now, how many rows? 50, 54, 54. So we've removed our duplicates. And how do we know the duplicates? This is how we check for duplicates. Let me control Z. Let me go back. Um, can you see we're having 49? So we have some duplicates. Another method to check for duplicates is what? Putting a filtering button here. Using a what? A filtering menu here. And how do you do that? You come to this filter here. Filter. Turn on filter for the selected cells. So let us turn on filter. Control Shift L. I've added a filter to it. Can you see now? Let us filter. We see now. How do we filter this place? We see all. We have blank. Andrew, Jackson, Abraham, Lincoln, George Washington, George Washington. So um so let us check on select all. Let's check for so this one occur once. It occurs once. So let us select all. Okay. So another thing is that's how to check for duplicates. And now, having done this, we can filter this column. Another we can filter this column. And how do you filter this? Let us try and sort column, our column. Let us try as much as possible to sort this column. Sorting is one of the most frequent tasks we do in what? In analysis or in Excel. Sorting lets you rearrange data in alphabetical order, lowest to highest, highest to lowest, and even by what? By cell color. So let us try and sort this column now. Can you see we have filter by color? See now we can filter by color. We can what? Text text filter equals, that's when you use all this based on conditional filtering. But let us try and sort by A to Z. If we sort A to Z, expand, want to sort A to Z here and sort. Now, we've sort this table based on A to Z. Let us go back. That's not what I want. Can you see? Let me remove this filter here. I don't want this filter. Let me put this filter. Let's put this filter here. Control Shift L. So having done this, let's try as possible to filter. We can filter by A to Z. When we filter by A to Z, can you see now? We have what? Can you see we have a filter show all men, show what? Showing all. It means that we filter. Look at this arrow. Let me go back. Before we applied our filter, we are not having that pointed arrow. But immediately we filter by what? A to Z. We sort by A to Z rather. We have this pointed arrow. Let me zoom so that you see this pointed arrow. It means that we filter this column. And once we filter this column, everything about our table what changes. Everything about our table what changes. So we filter about alphabetically from what A to Z, and you can also filter from what Z to A. So depending, it is best to filter from A to Z. Let us remove our filter. That is for what? For filtering or for sorting in what? In Excel. So another thing I want us to do, guys, is looking at this our sales column. Let us inspect, and what do you see, guys? As you can see here, these names are not what properly formatted as it ought at as what it ought to be. We have Abraham Lincoln, Andrew Jackson, Andrew Johnson, blah blah blah. You see, it is not properly formatted. It is what scattered. Some are appearing in uppercase, some are in lowercase, while some are in properly formatted. So what can we do? Another thing is, in order to continue with our formatting, what you need to do now is you come here, you come here and what? Um, Let us create another, was it insert another, no, control Z. Let us insert another, what's it called here? And let's call this one sales men 2. And what we want to do is, guys, I want to convert this. I want to properly format so that we can have a unique format. And how do we do that? As it is, some are carrying word are being formatted in form of uppercase. The text are in what? Some are in uppercase, some are in what? Lowercase, while some are in what? In proper. And how do we achieve this to give it a uniform, what's it called now? A uniform format. In order to do this, you do what? There is we have three Excel formula or functions rather for it. And like I said in our previous sessions, that when you are starting either a formula or function in Excel, you start with the equal sign. Equals what? The name of the function I want to use is what? Proper. Proper function. Can you see now? He said what? If we can read, let me try and so that we can read proper. He said convert a text string to proper case. The first letter in each word to uppercase and all other letters to what? To lower case. When you press tab, and then you now have what? Um, sorry, sorry. Let me go back. Okay, equals proper. The text is this. The text is this, and then you enter. You press enter button on your keyboard. Can you see now? Abraham Lincoln has been what? Properly formatted to starting with what? A, the capital A and capital L. So then drag you drag down, and then we have what? We have formatted our names. Another thing, let's what if we want to have them in lowercase? What we can do is what? Just come to um lower lower, then this, and press enter. You see now everything is in what? Is in lower case. And if you want everything in upper case, what do? Is what? You press with upper, then you have it, here you go, and press enter. Then it turn it what? All the text are being what? Formatted in upper case, as you can see it. But you have your what now here is you are using proper to follow the conventional method, and you press enter. So we have everything properly formatted. So having done this, guy, what we need to do is let us delete this cell. Let us get rid of this cell. Um Another thing, control Z is now what is happening is this. Note that when I try to delete this one, what is happening? We have this is coming as a what? As hash ref, which means moving or deleting used cells use an invalid cell reference or function is returning reference error, because this column is what? We is a reference column to the column I just what? To the columns I just deleted the other time. That is why we are receiving this error. So what do we do in order to solve this, guys? Control Z, and let us change it to absolute. You press what's it called? F4 on your keyboard. Um, what we can do is um in order to make this one is you press what do we do, guys? Control, use F4. Okay, use F4 and enter. So once you done that, once you do that, just close, drop down. Oh, okay, okay. um All right. So okay, you F4, F4, and you okay. Let me see our range. Let's use our range here, and mm, 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 mm. Okay. Then you drop down. You you drop down to come. Let's see. Let's highlight this table. Mm, um, let's see and check 250. 250. Let me F4 A50. Then you put F4. And doing that, press enter. Okay. So in our next video, I will I will I will try as much as possible to sort this out. So let us leave it the way it is. In our next video, we will start from here. So I hope